So in this lecture, I'm going to discuss Fermat's theorem. Let us move to the statement of the theorem. Let P be a prime, and suppose that P does not divides A. It means GCD of P comma A is equal to 1. So then you have to prove that A to the power of P minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo P. So we'll move to the proof of the theorem. Consider the first P minus 1 positive multiples of integer A. That is, you should consider 1 into A, 2 into A, 3 into A, and so on, P minus 1 into A, where P is a prime number. We consider first P minus 1 multiples of A, that is A, 2A, 3A, and so on, P minus 1 into A. So let us correct as equation 1. So these integers is incongruent to modulo P to any other integer. It means, so these integers are incongruent to each other under modulo P. It means 1a is not similar to 2a, or 1a is not similar to 3a, and so on. So 1a is not similar to P minus 1 into a. And also none of them equation 1, none of them in equation 1 are congruent to 0. Here P is a prime number, and we considered first P minus 1 multiples of positive multiples of A. So these integers is incongruent to any other integer under modulo P, and moreover this integers is incongruent to integer 0 also under the modulo P. So that is P does not divides A, P does not divides 2A, P does not divides 3A, and so on. P does not divides P minus 1 into A. Now this implies, since P does not divides A, so this implies A is not congruent to 0 modulo P, and 2A is not congruent to 0 modulo P, and so on. So P minus 1 into A is not congruent to 0 modulo P. So now we show that any two integers in equation 1 is not congruent to modulo P. If possible, suppose RA and SA are congruent. So RA and SA between the integer A to P minus 1 into A. Let us assume that RA and SA are congruent. So then we can write RA is congruent to SA modulo p, where 1 less than or equal to r less than s less than or equal to p minus 1. So r and s lies between 1 and p minus 1, where ra and sa also lies between what, 1a and p minus 1 into a. So if they are congruent, we can write ra is congruent to sa modulo p. So this implies p divides ra minus se. So this implies p divides a is common r minus s. This implies either p divides a or p divides r minus s. But p does not divide a. From the statement of theorem, you can observe, since p does not divide a, so this implies p divides r minus s, which is not possible since since r less than s less than p. So therefore p does not divides r minus s. So ra is not congruent to sa modulo p. Therefore the integers a, 2a, 3a and so on, p minus 1 to a, are congruent to 1, 2, 3 and so on, p minus 1 in some order. So to understand the above concept, let us take an example. So p is equal to 7 and a is equal to 3. Let us consider the first p minus 1 multiples of a, where p is 7 and a is equal to 3. That is 1a, 2a, 3a, 4a, 5a and 6a, where p is 7, 7 minus 1 is 6a. So we considered first p minus 1 multiples of a, where a is 3. So first 1a is nothing but 3, 2a where a is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and where a is 3, 6 3s are 18. So these are the multiples of a. The integers 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 and 18 are not congruent modulo 7, where p is 7 here. But the integers 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 and 18 are congruent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 in some order. So you can observe from the element 1a, so where 1a is equal to 3, so 3 is congruent to 3 modulo 7, since 7 divides 3 minus 3, this implies 7 divides 0. So let us take second element. So 2a, that is equal to 6. So this implies 6 is congruent to 6 modulo 7, since 7 divides 6 minus 6. 3a is equal to 9. So this implies, so 9 is congruent to 2 modulo 7, since 7 divides 9 minus 2. So for the element 4a, where 4a is equal to here 12, so this implies 12 is congruent to 5 modulo 7, since 7 divides 12 minus 5. So 5 is here 15, so this implies 15 is congruent to modulo 7, since 7 divides 15 minus 1. So for 6a is here 6a is 18, so this implies integers 1a is 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 and 18 are congruent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 in some order under modulo 7. So let us move to the proof of the result now. So for the integers, the integer a, 2a, 3a and so on p minus 1a are congruent to 1, 2, 3 and so on p minus 1 in some order. Hence 1a into 2a into 3a and so on into p minus 1 into a is congruent to 1 into 2 into 3 and so on into p minus 1 modulo p. So this implies, so 1 into 2 into 3 and so on p minus 1 into, there are p minus 1 times of a here, that is e to the power of p minus 1 is congruent to 1 into 2 into 3 into so on p minus 1 modulo p you can write. So this implies, so 1 into 2 into 3 up to p minus 1 can be written as e to the power of p minus 1 into p minus 1 factorial is congruent to p minus 1 factorial modulo p you can write. This implies e to the power of p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p. So since p does not divide p minus 1 factorial, so we can cancel it by dividing p minus 1 factorial. So therefore e to the power of p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p. So this is the proof of the Fermat's theorem, where p is prime. So let us move to corollary. If p is a prime and a is any integer, so then you have to prove that a power p is congruent to a modulo p. So we'll move to the proof of the corollary. So to prove this result, we have two cases. So first one is when p does not divide c, and second case when p divides c. So now let us put the first case when p does not divide c. So we know that Fermat's theorem, if p is a prime and a is any integer, non-zero integer, p does not divide a, then you put that result a power p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p. Since p does not divide a, so throughout equation multiplying by a, so therefore a into a power p minus 1 is congruent to a, modulo p. So this implies a into a power p minus 1 is a power p is congruent to a modulo p. So when p does not divide a by using Fermat's theorem, you can prove that a power p is congruent to a modulo p. So let us move to second case. When p divides a, if p divides a, then even p divides a square also, when p divides a cube also, and so on, when p divides a power p also. For example, you can check here. Suppose if 2 divides 4, 2 is prime number and a is equal to 4 here, any integer. So this implies 2 divides 4 square also, it means 2 divides 16 also, and so on. 2 divides 4 power p also. Suppose if p divides a power p, then a power p is congruent to 0 modulo p, and if p divides a, then a is congruent to 0 modulo p. So this can be written as, so 0 is congruent to a modulo p. Since congruence is symmetric here, if a is congruent to 0 modulo p, so then we can write 0 is congruent to a modulo p also, because since congruence is symmetric. So this is correct as equation number 1, this is correct as equation 2. If a power p is congruent to 0 modulo p, then 0 is congruent to a modulo p. So here 0 is common, therefore you can write a power p is congruent to a modulo p by using transitive relation. So from equation 1 and 2, you can write a power p is congruent to 0. So a power p is congruent to a modulo p. So since congruence is transitive, therefore if a power p is congruent to 0 modulo p and 0 is congruent to a modulo p, can be written as a power p is congruent to a modulo p. So therefore if p is prime and a is any integer, then a power p is congruent to a modulo p. So we will consider the lemma. If p and q are two distinct primes, with a power p is congruent to a modulo q and a power q is congruent to a modulo p, so then you have to prove that a power pq is congruent to a modulo pq. So let us move to the proof here. Let p and q be two different primes with the a power p is congruent to a modulo q and 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 a power q is congruent to a modulo p. So this is equation 1, this is equation 2. So by previous corollary, we have if p is prime and A is any integer, then A power P is congruent to A modulo P. Using this result, so equation 1 can be written as we have, so in place of A you take A power P. Now A power P whole power Q is congruent to A power P modulo Q can write. Now this implies A power PQ is congruent to A power P modulo Q. So let us call equation 3 this is. So from equations 1 and 3, so from equation 3 and 1, if A power PQ is congruent to A power P modulo Q, then A power P is congruent to A modulo Q. So by using transitive relation, we can write A power PQ is congruent to A modulo Q can write. This is equation number 4. Since A power PQ is congruent to AP modulo Q, A power P is common in equation 1, and A power P is congruent to A modulo Q, then we can write A power PQ is congruent to A modulo Q can write by using the transitivity relation. This implies Q divides A power PQ minus A. This is called as equation number 5. Similarly, we can write A power Q whole power P is congruent to A power Q modulo P, and the relation equation 2, that is A power Q is congruent to A modulo P. So this is correct as equation 5, and this is equation from 2, which we have considered A power Q is congruent to A modulo P. Since congruence is transitive, if A power PQ is congruent to A power Q modulo P and A power Q is congruent to A modulo P, then we can write A power PQ is congruent to A modulo P. So therefore this implies we can write A power PQ is congruent to A modulo P. That is we call it as equation number 6. So this implies, so P divides A power PQ minus A. Let us call it as equation number 7. You can observe that, so Q divides A power PQ minus A, and P divides A power PQ minus A from equation 7. Since PQ are primes, and we have from equation 5 and equation 7 that PQ divides A power PQ minus A. So this implies we can write as A power PQ is congruent to A modulo PQ. So this is the result of the lemma. So now let me recall the Fermat's theorem. If P be a prime and P does not divide A, it means that, so GCD of A comma N, A comma P is equal to 1. So then A power p minus 1 is a congruent to 1 modulo p. So this is a statement of the Fermat's theorem. But the converse of Fermat's theorem need not be true. So let us define the converse of the Fermat's theorem. That is if a power p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p for some integers a and p, then p need not be a prime. So what is the statement of the Fermat's theorem? If p is a prime and p does not divide a, then we proved that a power p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p. But converse of Fermat's theorem is if a power p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p for some integers a and p, then p is need not be a prime. For example, 2 power 341 minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo 341. It means 341 divides 2 to the power of 340 minus 1. So this implies 2 power 340 is congruent to 1 modulo 341. But p is not a prime. So p is equal to 341. So that can be written as of 2 prime factors. So that is 11 into 31. 341 is not a prime. So therefore the converse of the Fermat's theorem is not true.